Hello and welcome, guys. Leon Street here. Just waiting for the stream to actually show up on my computer. There we go. So today I've got an interesting topic. If you are a parent and you're a coach and you run your business, or if you're just a business owner and you have children. And today's topic is all about how to make time for your children, because running a business, you can get super busy. And one of the biggest things as an entrepreneur, you always hear people talking about grinding, hustling, all that kind of jazz. But how can you do all of that and fit the kids in? It's right if you don't have any kids, or if you haven't got anybody, I don't know, let's say you're not in a relationship or anything like that, and you can just put 100% of your time into the business. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing either, because you need to take time out and do other things to experience whatever you need to experience. And it doesn't matter, in terms of the time you put into it, but there are different things that you need to include in your life. So to the point, how to make time for your children. So currently in the UK, it's half term. And so my children have been on half term. So I have a son who's 12. My daughter is 5, nearly 6. And one of the big things is making time for them. And I'd even say more so, I'm probably more aware of making time because of my daughter, because she's so dependent and she's at that age where she expresses and sees love through the time that is shared, as well as obviously I suppose the other kind acts that I do with my daughter. But one of the big things that I've experienced is that when she's not as happy, let's say, and then I've spoken to her, and I'm being real honest here as a parent. And when I've spoken to her and I said, tell me, what is it that you want to do more of, or what is it that daddy can do more of with you? And one of the biggest things, which is something that always comes home to me, is spending more time playing. Yeah. And spending more time playing dollies, playing doll houses, and drawing, coloring, jigsaw puzzles, games, just different things. Yeah. But time spent with her. And if you think of it as the kind of coach, that's not obviously your normal thing, what you really want to be doing, in the sense of maybe that's not your hobby or whatever. But the reality is that one of the biggest things is actually spending time with your child. That's the thing that really needs to happen. And when you're an entrepreneur and it's kind of like, how do I make time, get all the things that I need to do for marketing, sales, operations, all of those things to make the necessary financial income to pay for the, the bills, pay for the food and all that other jazz. Like, how do you make time? Well, one of the biggest things for me is really focusing on what time have you set aside in your week. And there's a kind of rule or a strategy that I picked up from Stephen Covey, author of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the biggest things is actually scheduling your week, like really focusing on the 168 hours that you have in a week in order to schedule things. And one of the biggest things that you can do is actually block the time into your calendar. So you make the space in your calendar, because what I've found is that if you leave things to chance and it's kind of like on a whim, or it's unplanned, or you haven't really focused on time for your child, then it becomes difficult. And I'll tell you why it becomes difficult: because everything else will take priority, whether you intend for it to or not. And really making the time for your children or your nearest and dearest, yeah, it could be your partner, could be, friends, whoever's close to you and that you spend your time with. One of the big things is really making the time in your calendar. It's one of the reasons why recently, I think just before the new year kicked in, beginning of January, I shared the weekly planner that I use for myself, and I also use with my team members. It's really useful. You print it off and you map out your full week. If you're used to using Google Calendar and other modern technology, great. I also enjoy kind of physically writing down the things that need to happen in my week. So that's something that, you know, anybody can pick up. And it's often the simple things that actually allow you to really make the difference in terms of human connection. Because let's face it, you know, our children, our family, our partners, you know, they're the ones that we care about. They're the ones that we love. And often when that time isn't put into your calendar, it's so easy to get caught up with, you know, trying to make ends meet, trying to put this new webinar in place, new lead magnet, new marketing system, new sales scripts, new systems, like everything. And that unfortunately becomes a problem to the detriment of your connection and relationship with your children. So today, I spent most of my day with the children, where we've gone to a local museum, a local air museum. So we've seen planes, like huge planes, fighter jets, helicopters, like, you know, all of that kind of, you know, stuff that as a kid, no matter whether you're a boy or girl, you'd be like, wow. And actually, you know, both my daughter and my son were like, wow. And, you know, he's taking some pictures, he's having fun. We got some sweets, or if you're in America, candy. And then we got some food as well, you know, in between stuff. And, you know, that was part of the investment of time with one another and wanting to be with one another. And for me, it's so important that, you know, I make the effort and I put my children into my calendar, because it's how I create the habit to make sure that I continue to do that. And look, sometimes I need reminders. My daughter might remind me, my son might, but the key thing is that the making of time for your children is simply opening up the time in your diary or in your calendar. It's that simple. Because once they're in, that's it. You commit to the time for, you know, them, what you put in, you commit to the time for the other activities that you have in life. And that's where you find your commitment to the person, where you can spend the time, you can invest that time, enjoy those emotional connections. And for a lot of people, it's so easy to just let that stuff slide. And, you know, when you let that stuff slide, that's where you find your relationship, whether it's with your children or other people around you, your loved ones, that's where things start to slide and the connection becomes weaker. So I just wanted to share that with you, because as a coach, as a marketing coach, you know, it's so easy just to get caught up in the business, the day to day, and, you know, the hustle, let's win, you know. And the reality is that some of the most important things to us, the people in our lives, are the reasons why we're, you know, really driving, or parts of the reasons. Because a lot of us, if you look at it, you know, and just separate your ego for a second, you know, the drive to have the business that we want is generally around what it is in terms of our purpose and what we're pursuing. Yeah. And for most of us, if you're like me as a parent, you know, as well as the people nearest to you, you want to take care of them. You want to be able to provide for them and put the best things that you can in front of them, or give them the best opportunities to learn. And I think Les Brown says it best as well. You know, it's not what you leave for your children when we pass on, yeah, or when, you know, we part this earth. It's what you leave in them. And really the time, that connection, you know, as they learn from you, because they learn by default, they learn by the actions they see, they learn by the actions that you don't take. Yeah. And so your children are forever seeing what you do. Yeah. So on that point, I'd like to say, it's not what you leave for them, it's what you leave in them. So as a coach, if you found that, you know, you've struggled, I was even having this conversation last night with one of my coaching clients, just, you know, how the impact of her elderly daughter was inflicting in her time with the things that she wanted to do, because there was a breakdown in communication about expectations to help one another to both go in the right direction. And that's what I mean. It's so easy sometimes just to let things slip, when actually we can just bring it right to the top, put it into our calendar, speak openly, and make that human connection. So it's been Leon Street. I hope that has made sense to you. And if you found it of value, please like, share, and comment below this video. Tell me about your experiences. But I look forward to catching you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.